Morning, everybody. I'm gonna get started shortly, so we're gonna just play a video in the meantime for you.
Our vision hinges on the introduction and implementation of a 24-hour economy, which will also be anchored in agriculture and agribusiness. This innovative approach would unlock potentials that have long remained dormant, enabling us to harness the energy and creativity of all our people. And young people, including entrepreneurs, can find opportunities regardless of traditional institutions. The 24-hour economy model will also bolster job creation for the young people, stimulate local industry, and attract foreign investments, and allow us to build resilient communities and a sustainable future. This vision extends beyond mere economic transactions, symbolizes empowerment, the empowerment of every Ghanaian to contribute to our national progress. To the business leaders and entrepreneurs, I invite you to support this new model and join me in shaping a business environment where creativity thrives and where the fruits of your investments contribute to the collective welfare of our nation. Your role in driving our economy forward cannot be overstated. Your innovation and dedication will be a backbone of our success story. And I pledge to you that we would look at the tax regime and rationalize them so that they are more transparent and fair. Members of the business community, I assure you, Ghana is open for business again. I thank you and welcome you to Ghana. And in our local parlance, I say Akwaba to all of you.
Awesome. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Power Hour and good afternoon. Thank you for joining us wherever you are. Please go ahead and put in the chat where you're tuning in from. Would love to know whether you're in Atlanta or you're in another part of the world. So feel free to go ahead and do that. My name is Ricardo Beris. I'm actually live from Accra, Ghana. Beautiful city here, and it's good to be on the ground. We have had a tremendous few days of great experience connecting and engaging with everyone from local businesses to government, and we're super excited to have one such professional and expert here with us today. And we're going to get right in, but just a few housekeeping. If there's someone you know that should be here, feel free to forward them this, let them jump in because we're going to be having a really powerful hour. And also, please keep your microphones on mute. You can use the chat as much as you'd like to share about yourself and tell us where you're coming in from. That would be awesome. But also, this is going to be recorded, so we'll be putting this on YouTube later, and you'll be able to watch it again in the future or share it accordingly. Follow us, please, Global Opportunities Committee on the Atlanta Black Chambers .org website. You can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on social media as well, LinkedIn. And we're still asking you for a favor. Go over to YouTube for us, please, and subscribe to the Atlanta Black Chambers YouTube channel. We're working towards 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't yet given us your love, if this is helpful for you, please go ahead and follow us over there. Atlanta Black Chambers Global Opportunities Committee would be grateful. So today we actually have and I'm in Accra, and I wish you could see some of the things that we see, but you'll stay tuned to our community, and we'll be able to share some of these things later. We've got a ton of footage and so forth that we'll share with you soon. But it's an amazing time here, and I have a special guest who have agreed to come on and talk to us a little bit about some of the opportunities that exist, but also just giving his insight. And I'd like for you to meet him. And so, Corena, welcome to the Power Hour, sir. It's good to actually have you here today. I know we wanted to do this live, but you ended up in a different space in a different city, so we had to still catch you when you're a busy man. That's usually what happens. So thanks for jumping in. My folks would love to know who you are and what you do, and so would love for you to go ahead and introduce yourself and talk to us a little bit about the work that you're doing.
Thank you very much, Ricardo, and thank you, Powerhouse, for having me. I'm Kwame, as Ricardo said. So I am the Registrar and Chief Executive Officer for the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana. But I do other things in terms of advocacy. So Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana is a professional body for marketers, salespersons, business development managers, marketing research experts. And on this call, I must say that because I take marketing research very seriously, and as I'm talking to investors and business owners, the foremost thing they have to do before entering a market is to look at data, information, and insight. So I have here with me Atumaika, who is also good. He's part of the meeting. I think he is in New York presently, but he has also joined on this call. Good morning, good afternoon to Atumaika and all of you. And as I said, he's here because I take deep interest in insights so that for whatever decisions that you need to take, the data must speak to it. So if you don't take anything at all away from here today, take marketing research data very serious. In entering any market, I take it that industry report like the Mintel report and the market line report will be very essential for you. In another realm, I also lead in the Ghana All Media Product Survey, and by so doing, I am also aligned with the Pan-African Media Research Organization, where we make sure that data is available to age the eyeballs and the ears that you would need to gain visibility for the products and services that you sell. Also, I am the vice president for the West African market in terms of the African Marketing Confederation. And the African Marketing Confederation now has about 16 countries. The founding countries were Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Kenya, and I've mentioned and Zambia. So 6 countries were the founding members, and today we are 16. In September, we'll be meeting in Zambia for the fifth African Marketing Conference. So that is also another life that I lead. So basically, that is me. When it comes to marketing, whether marketing research, whether brand equity management, whether channel management, I mean, I am the go-to person, or Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana is the go-to person. The last work we would have done in that regard was for Alicorp, and for that matter, BCG, the BCG Consulting Group. We would have done something for them just in December because they wanted to enter some markets and they needed to understand the Ghanaian FMCG space. So thank you for having me once again, and I pray I also learned something or take something away from this discussion that we have just started. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, no, thank you, Doc. I appreciate it, and thanks for sharing that. That's a wide sort of you're a man of many hats, and I think your leadership speaks for itself. So I want to set the stage now, though, and just kind of really understand from your vantage point, sort of what's actually happening in Ghana right now. When I came in, I lamented how clean the airport was when I got here. One of the cleanest airport, by the way, that I've seen, guys. It's very like spick and span, if I may use that term. And then I also sort of saw, a lot of construction. Crane is up. It's one thing about when you go into a city, you see cranes, some stuff's going on, and construction buildings are up, and I'm like, wow. So can you talk to us a little bit about sort of what's happening in Ghana right now that business community like ours should really be paying attention to?
Okay, so good. So if they say observational research is a research tool, then your observation is as good as mine. And I have been told that when you move into countries where you see construction site, then it means that economy is doing very well. So yes, we are in defining moment. We have a stable and reform-driven economy, the GDP. Or let me put it straight so that we don't go into the numbers. The stipple or the macro environmental variables, whether socio-cultural, whether technology, whether economic, whether ethical, whether ecological, whether political issues, whether legal issues, are rightly, stable and, in its right place. So for me, it's a good place and a very resilient market to enter into, especially when it's the gateway to Africa. Through Ghana, you can reach out to a lot of other countries. I serve on some boards and they are quite doing well, especially in the beverage industry, where I see them penetrate the Togo market, penetrate the Benin market, enter the Nigeria market, and what have you. So it's easy to come into Ghana and move into the other West African markets, and for that matter, the African market. So for me, looking at the staple factors, whether sociocultural, whether technology, whether economic, whether ethical, whether political, whether legal, or the green environment, Ghana is the go-to place for all of
Nice.
them.
That's fantastic. And I think about Atlanta and Georgia and how it has a wraparound. We say Georgia has about five or so wraparound states: Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Alabama. For someone in the diaspora or outside of Ghana, period, sort of looking in, and you're on the inside, why does Ghana deserve that sort of serious attention at this moment?
Because the indicators are showing four, aside our hospitality, aside our warmth, aside our ethical, uh, you know, transparency and all of it. Ghana is the go-to place for you to come to. And as I said, we are regaining ourselves. Yes, we've had some patchy parts, but then, looking at the way forward, I'm quite sure we won't go back where we had a heavy moment, especially with the gold board that has been set up and how it can help secure, especially one of the major cost drivers, which normally is the depreciation of the cedi. Once we have that solid framework now and body helping streamline things, I'm quite sure we don't have a problem with those three cost drivers into the future, whether inflation, whether on the utilities, and whether on the exchange rate fluctuations. So I would say, side the soft side that we
Yeah.
have, very strong, we are strong on. Even on the hard side, the best, we are going places with it. So please come on board and join us. Make
But
good
fantastic,
investments in
fantastic.
Ghana.
And for when let's talk a little bit about sectors now, because I know there are several different sectors in Ghana. But which sectors do you believe that is currently presenting sort of the strongest opportunities for partnerships and potential trade and investment even? I mean, I mentioned about the real estate. I see a lot of buildings going up, lots of apartments. But what are the sectors in your perspective, from your vantage point?
So you are spot on. Real estate, if you are to do a league table, I'm quite sure real estate will lead, and you've observed that, rightly so. Fintech is another go-to place that you can look at. Um, Manufacturing, why not? Whether beverage, especially for the water space. we are getting a lot of people in there for whatever reason. You can see somebody in construction company who is diversifying and making sure that he's doing, what do you call it, water out of his construction. He does boreholes. And through the boreholes, he realized that he's doing a lot of boreholes for sachet water and for bottled water and that kind of thing. So why not also go in there? So a kind of backward integration for a construction company for that matter. So the integrations are, both ways. Going forward integration, going backward integration is seen in this market across all industries, whether especially when it comes to beverage, agribusiness, and what have you. We see those things happening there. But as I said, if we are to do a league table, then real estate will come first, fintech, and in that order.
Fantastic. We just actually came from the Agri Tech Expo where we toured. It's out there in the square, Black Square, right? And we just toured.
That's great.
Yes, Black Star Square, beautiful space, and we just toured a number of exhibitors that are doing production here, helping with agro-processing. Where do you see the biggest gap between opportunities that exist right now in Ghana and what the international community or the diaspora currently understand about Ghana? Where do you see the gap?
Can you repeat that question? I didn't get it
So
quite
where do
well.
you see the biggest gap between the opportunities that currently exist, which are some of the ones you referred to, and what the international market, the diaspora, or people on the call that currently understand about Ghana? What do you see a gap between what exists and what they understand, and where do you see the biggest ones?
Okay, if in terms of gap as to what they can take advantage of,
Yes.
okay, so it's got to do with data. That's why I brought Atu here. Because we don't have data on the informal sector. For example, if you're going to go into banking, you easily can get your market report where the macro is solid for you to see, where meso is solid for you to see, where you can even get a case study of a company doing quite well for you to mimic or benchmark for that matter, as compared to the informal ones where you have a lot of fragmented businesses. So therefore, and not a powerful regulator for that matter. There you would have a challenge in terms of data, so the decisions cannot be taken and you'd have to do a lot of guesses and hunches. But when it gets to a point, you can enable Atumaika to chip in, especially in this area when we are talking about gaps that are in the market and what we can do to bridge that gap so that businesses can take full advantage of what we have here, and we can also, the local players here, also taking full advantage of what investors have out there. Ato, can you
Yeah.
add something to what I've just said? Sorry, I'm breaking protocol.
Yeah. So thank you, Kwabna. I think in terms of gaps in gaps and opportunities. I mean, the agribusiness sector is massive in terms of the opportunities that it has. If you look at what is consumed within the consumer packaged food sector, most of it is imported. If you look at home and personal care, with the exception of the Unilevers and other very small, I don't even call them small business, but small microeconomic, small businesses, you tend to have mostly it all foreign dominated. So there's definitely a huge opportunity within that sector for for more local production and more local engagement on that front. With regards to data, there's actually quite a number of there's data available if you seek it, right? We are a retail audit organization, so you can think of us as the Nielsen of West Africa. And so we cover 15,000 SKUs, mostly consumer packaged goods across 60 segments. So home and personal care, food, and non-alcoholic and alcoholic beverages, right? So there are data sets that are available, and I would really encourage everyone to ask for it or kind of seek either through CIMG or through organizations like us, Maverick Research, in that context, to be able to kind of help provide direction or make more at least data-driven, informed decision from that perspective.
Thank you, Ato. And if you have a resource that folks can lean into right away after this call, please put it in the chat so that people can actually take a look at the what you have available in terms of data and maybe the process of how to access. I want to go back to you, Kawena, and I want to talk a little bit about on this call, a lot of our members in our community, they're professional service providers. So like yourself, maybe marketers like Atto, researchers and attorneys and real estate providers and so forth. What do you think separate those that succeed in this market from those that merely just show interest?
So for those that succeed in this market, for me, they are marketing oriented. They take customer orientation seriously. Aside taking customer orientation seriously and being client focused, they also are always looking at competitor activity. So they don't joke with competitor data to know the gaps, what they are doing right, reinforce what their competitors may be doing right and which they can mimic, benchmark, and all of that. They also take organizational culture and identity very seriously. So when you mention their name, there is something that they connote. There must be something associated with them that would make you always remember and want to go to them, those who succeed. Aside that, for those who succeed, there is that integrative approach where all the units within the organization work in concert to achieve and satisfy the single most important factor in business, the customer, and for that matter, the client. For me, these are the four most important things that is making these organizations very successful in their approach. It goes without saying that those who are not succeeding are not doing these things, and for that matter, are not marketing oriented.
And repeat the four things again, just for emphasis.
So customer orientation, competitor orientation, organizational culture and identity, and functional cooperation, the various units working together in concert. The last thing, even maybe five, is sustainability and profitability. I believe that if you do all these four things very well, certainly the profit will come to you, and you sustain your business. So basically, we can say it's five, even more, even rather than say four. Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic.
Okay, sorry if I can add to what Kwabena has said, because I lived and worked with P&G in Cincinnati before I moved back to Ghana. So this is a bit of a lived experience for me. And having established a company, then we're in our fifth year, 6 countries, 56 employees. From that perspective, I think the first thing is excellence knows no boundary, has no geographic boundaries, right? And I think that what the best practices, the global best practices, is one that will still keep you winning, even in the African market. And I think it bodes well for that. The second aspect of what I'll say our success has been around maintaining that we're diverse in terms of our revenue, in terms of our approach, right? And so not only do we seek local clients and local businesses, but we're also very external focused. at this moment, I'm in Austin at South by Southwest. I'm engaging clients that we have that do business on the continent from that perspective. So that really helps, and that really helps manage the FX shocks and all the other the challenges that comes specifically to operating in that in that environment. The third piece that I would talk about is around people. And hiring and managing from that perspective. Understanding that from a local standpoint and from each market, how to incentivize, motivate an associate in Nigeria is very different from how you do that in Ghana, actually. And so knowing that and making sure that they are all locked in to take on the third point that Kwabena mentioned, it's absolutely critical, right? And there are certain things that you need to understand, right? Whether it's power structure in Nigeria or the power distance in Nigeria, or how you engage. I'll end with a story which kind of segues into the fourth bit, right? We had a major CPG client, local giant from that perspective that we had to go meet. I thought the manager in Nigeria would be something that he could just engage with the gentleman and take it from there. But that was very different, right? He needed to see me and make it more of a talk to talk, right? Long story short, we didn't get it, but it took about a year of doing the dance for us to kind of go around to getting it. And so these kind of nuances and understanding them, not from the context of working in the diaspora, whether US or UK or whichever organization you're coming from, but to really understand it and really say that, listen, this is how it works here, and this is what it takes to make it to win, quote unquote, from that perspective.
Yeah. Thank you, Ato. And I want to talk a little bit about the diaspora engagement piece since that we're on it. And I think we might have lost Kwabena here. I don't see him here anymore. I think he might have just dropped, but we'll see. He comes back. But since we have you here, Ato, and well, he's back. So Kwabena, I know we want to pick your brain on this a little bit more. I want to talk about diaspora engagement. So we lost you for a second. So many of the folks that we know as well in the diaspora want to engage Ghana, but oftentimes they don't know where to actually start. And so how should these people think about entering into a market like Ghana in a meaningful and strategical way from your perspective as a marketer?
Okay, if you want to enter the Ghanaian market, I guess the first point of call is to be talking to the Chamber of Commerce's and apex bodies such as ours. It's good we are having a discussion, because then where I said we can connect you to the right people and make sure that we engage properly. It's good to engage and to understand the perspectives of the business of those who are the local players on ground. Aside that, today, luckily for us, we do a lot of research. In fact, CIMG did a research in 2022-2023 on regional brand index. So we have a report, an index that speaks to about 9 parameters that also can be made available for a desk kind of research before they. But for me, the professional bodies and associations are available for you to engage. In marketing alone, we have the Advertising Association of Ghana that are in charge of billboards. So if you want visibility and you want to cite billboards, they are there to help. You have the Institute of Public Relations when it comes to public relations activities and what have you. There's journalism, there is AGI, Association of Ghana Industries, there's Ghana Chamber of Commerce, and there's even an apex body we call the Private Enterprise Foundation, for which all of these organizations are members. So yes, if you want to come into Ghana, there are people that we can make available for you to talk to. What we at CIMG would normally do is to have an evening session with you if that is your first time. So an evening session with Ricardo, for example, to speak your mind. And the community that we invite then interact with you. So on that spur of the moment, you can pick some insights that can help you decide on the way forward. So those things are available, and we've helped others to do that. And as I said, just in December, a whole consulting firm did that with us, and we were leading Alicop who wanted to come into this industry and
Awesome.
into this market. Sorry.
Yeah, then thanks for sharing that, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about the diaspora because I want to understand sort of what are some of the mistakes you see these diaspora investors making, or just entrepreneurs who want to come into the space when approaching Ghana, like some of the top ones, and I want to bring up one of our member who are going to spotlight, but I just wanted you to answer that one quickly before we do that. All right, I think he's frozen there. Kwabena, but we're gonna move forward, folks, and spotlight one of our members here, Sarah. If you're on the call, please come on camera because we want to get a quick spotlight. Kwabena, your connection is dropping a little bit, so we're gonna come back to
Yeah,
you
it's
in a
been
second.
unstable. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been
we're gonna come
unstable.
back to you in a
Sorry.
second, but just wanted to get to Sarah. Sarah, if you can come on camera real quick so we can do a quick spotlight of you. While she's okay, there she is. Sarah, good morning. Thank you for or good afternoon, I guess, because you're in Nigeria, right? You're still in Abuja. Thank you
Yeah.
for jumping in. We would love to welcome to the GOC. Thanks for being a member of the chamber. As a member, you get the privilege of engaging in our platform, and so today's your day to tell us a little bit about who you are, tell us a little bit about what you do, and yeah, let us know how, as a community, we can support.
Okay, thank you so much. It's such a privilege to be here, and it's good seeing you again. Hope Ghana is treating you well, but I can see that you're enjoying yourself. Okay, amazing. So I would want to use a slide just to share a bit. It's not going to be, okay, I'm not a host, so I can't do that.
We unfortunately we can't do the slide, but you'll have to verbalize at best. I'm sure you're able to do that.
Yes, I can surely do that. Okay, so my name is Sarah Amana. Sarah Amana. I am a personal finance expert and the founder of Rich Anti-Finance and the RAF app. So basically what we do at Rich Anti-Finance is a financial literacy platform and an app. And our goal is to empower 10 million Nigerians in the next 10 years with tools, the necessary knowledge they need to make informed financial decisions. So like I always say, Nigerians are known to be hustlers anywhere in the world. So our problem is not how to make money. Our problem and our challenge usually is how to actually manage what you already earn and multiply it, right? So that's where Rich Anti-Finance comes into play. So we're here to close the financial literacy gap we see in Nigeria and in Africa at large. And basically, we've done some good numbers so far. So like I said, we have the app, which is the Rich Anti-Finance app. So as we're teaching you, we want to be able to give you the tools you need to actually put whatever it is we have taught you into action. Because when it comes to building wealth, you can't just talk. You have to do. Action is very important. You have to. And then when it comes to saving and investing, you have to develop the discipline and the consistency needed to actually build wealth, right? So that's why we have the app. On social media, we're over around 200,000 followers combined together. And on the app, we have over 2,300 users right now. We're actually looking to scale. We've done some good numbers. So I was looking at it. So we do, so like I said, we do financial literacy. So we have courses, we have webinars, we have consulting, we do a lot. right? And we're looking to scale the company. Right now, between January and February, we've done over roughly around 14 million in revenue, Nigerian naira, not US dollars. Nigerian naira, right? So we're showing very good traction. There's really there's need for what we already have. We just want to scale it. So right now, I've actually bootstrapped the company from onset up until now. We launched the app in January last year. So the app is 1 year, but the Rich Auntie Finance company is about 4 years old. We're looking to scale. We're looking to employ and bring more hands on board. We're looking to do a lot of marketing because with fintech app, you need a lot of awareness. In fact, in Nigeria, we have over 250 million people living in Nigeria, and we have about 150 of them being adults. And it will amaze you to know that of the 150 adults we have, the largest fintech platform in Nigeria right now is Piggyverse. One of the largest is Piggyverse, and their total user is just about 6 million. 6 million Nigerians. So we have 150 and just 6 million are actively saving and investing. So that means it shows you that there's a lot of market share for us to take actually. So we're looking to scale, we're looking to expand, we're looking to get our own market share, and anybody who is interested can send me a message and I would forward our pitch deck and executive summary. So that's basically what I do.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Auntie Sarah. I'm glad you are the rich one, the rich auntie. So we definitely will be leaning more into your insight. But that's great, though. And thanks for being a member of the chamber. And you just indicated how can folks reach out to you, and I'm sure you'll put some stuff in the chat. Wow, over 200 plus followers. I think that's a really good place to start, particularly for financial literacy. And I know some of our members here who are also in that space will be reaching out to you. Thank you so much, and we're looking forward to hearing more about Rich Auntie Finance as you grow. So awesome! Thank you
Thank
again.
you. Thank you for the spotlight.
Awesome, awesome. Kwabena, I wanna get back to you again. I wanna hear quickly just sort of your impression of the mistakes that folks actually make when they're trying to get into the market. If you can just respond to that. Now, I've got some other questions, of course, for you, but I wanted to touch base with you on that quickly.
Okay, why business fail or why investors who come into this space fail?
Yes, and your camera is off. I'm not sure if you can bring it back on, but um, okay, go ahead.
I thought because of the instability, I could go off camera to see whether
Okay,
the
that's
still.
smart. That's smart. But
No, but let's continue.
let's try it. Let's
Yeah.
try it this way. Yes.
Yeah, I feel they don't take the marketing process quite seriously. If really they take the marketing process quite seriously and plan with it. So you did your research, your need find, you provided the solutions and you knew the results that you were expecting. You could always claw back and see where you may have gone wrong. Sometimes it's guesses and hunches. I'll give you a case in point. So there's this detergent market that is doing very well. And this was the detergent market Alicop and BCG Consulting Group would want us to look at. We later find out that they didn't have a constructive way of entering the market. So they were successful in that regard. The product is successful in that regard, but they were doing a lot of things. They were into real estate, they were into other things. So when they were bringing the materials for their real estates, they realized that there were spaces. So they now put in laundry stuff and what do you call it into the containers. And boom, they realized that these were selling. So that will be guesses. That will be hunches. But it's a few people that are successful on that score. And even that one, you can't say they are successful. It could be for a brief moment. I would want to gauge a business success over a long period of time, not 2 years, not 3 years, not 4 years, not 5 years. I want to see, sometimes we want the quick wins, and it doesn't work that way. Marketing or business is not magic. It's not like lottery where you put 10 Ghana cedis, you are getting 1,000 there. It's got to be painstaking, and you got to follow a plan. And through that, you see your quarter reports, you are seeing your yearly reports, and you are seeing the growth trajectory in order to make decisions. So for me, it's taking your marketing process seriously, where you are started with research, new product development, you are doing your pricing very well, you are looking at your distributive or place element very well, and you are also looking at your visibility and communication. And in all of these legs, you still continue to do some data gathering to test and see whether things are working the way you planned or you wanted to roll them out. Then another thing is how we position ourselves. So you want to come in as a mid to lower level product or service provider, or you want to do middle to up. The positioning must be right, such that your marketing mix element, whether product, whether price, whether play, whether promotion, whether fiscal evidence, whether the people factor, and whether your processes are blended in a fine cake mixture. So when you bake the cake, it turns out good. Most often than not, we've seen that fail. And there are a lot of case studies. I mean, one popular one that I used to like to give is the Castle Milk Stout. When they entered the Ghanaian market and they were competing with Guinness Extra Stout in that stout market. I mean, Castle Milk Stout had some failures initially. One on distribution. They had launched a good product and they now didn't have distributors to stock those products because Guinness then had signed a pact that nobody within a year or two will stock any stout drink. And if you don't stock, they gave you a track to help your business. Now, Custom Milk Stout has come onto the market and they don't have distributors, or the place element was not working for them. Certainly, that was a problem of the marketing mix element not working in the favor. So those are the two things from where I sit, I would want to bring up in that space, aside some macro environmental challenges that you may have during the period that you entered the market.
Yeah, and I want to ask you, about trust as well, and sort of trust and consistency, and potentially you talked a little bit about the market intelligence piece, because the thing too is, as a local, Ghanaian company, you also have a role to play in positioning yourself as a brand so that you can be attractive to those who are interested in you from the external point of view, right? And you kind of touch on that a little bit. So I think it applies for both sides. But how important do you think the role of trust and consistency and this market intelligence plays in this growth environment that we are in today?
In fact, without trust and consistency, you don't have a place in marketing. Most often than not, people think that marketing, for want of a better word, is 419 and things like that. In fact, marketing hinges on trust and consistency. If you are not trustworthy, both the person, the brand, and the company, then you are in trouble. You must deliver what you promise from day one. And in case you are unable to, the reasoning must be cogent, must be solid, and must make sense. In fact, the client must feel your pain if assuming it doesn't happen. Whatever your product or your brand proposition is, the brand promise is, you ought to deliver it. So for the investor coming into whatever you promise in terms, especially if you have a local partner and you promise to make this money available, in the unlikely event that something happened and that money is not available readily and timely, the communication must be good enough for reasoning to prevail. Then in terms of consistency too in your offering, from product to price to your behavior, both uh, your soft skills and all of that must show consistency. And once you do that, that value, because I mean, somebody said that marketing really delivers three values. And if you are delivering these three values, by way of capturing value, delivering the value, and making sure that the customer is satisfied, certainly repeat businesses will be there, and you would get sustainable business that matter. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. I wanna shift a little bit because this is key. The World Cup is coming up, and of course, since I landed here, I've been saying congratulations to almost every Ghanaian for their team making the FIFA World Cup, which is a big deal, and it's oftentimes sometimes undervalued in terms of how important this is to play on the world stage. When you actually think about this upcoming FIFA World Cup period, what kind of opportunities you think Ghanaian businesses, Atlanta-based businesses that are hearing us from other parts of the world, do you think right now as a marketer and that you can prepare yourself for? This is a very short window to the games, which comes in June, so you almost have no time. But just wanted to pick your brain around that.
So I'll share some experiences here. I was at the South African World Cup and I did the Brazil, and there is tremendous marketing, especially when it comes to events marketing. And those people in the brand activation space, so brand activation companies should take advantage of this. I would go back and give the case study that I did when I was writing CIM UK exams. And I remember the case study was on Australian tourism. It was not World Cup. This was, I think, Olympic Games. Australians were supposed to host the Olympic Games. So what they did was to give us a case study to handle. We didn't even know they were hosting it. In fact, they were preparing even before they won. So the idea there was that how can we take advantage of the Olympics such that when people come for the Olympics, they will later come for businesses. And I saw a similar thing play out in Brazil. Brazil had the opportunity not to do only the World Cup, but just after the World Cup, they did Olympics. So you could see those who did the World Cup also had, so it was like a precursor for the Olympics. So they were able to take huge advantage. Ghana, unfortunately, we didn't advance that well in the World Cup, and we had too many problems and too many issues. But there's one thing that we were doing after each World Cup, we did a concert where we got musicians to sing. And these musicians that performed had a lot of gigs after the World Cup. So they leveraged on the World Cup to get those gigs. So looking at these musicians and actors and actors and what have you, and the kinds of gigs they got, not just in the Brazilian market, but in other markets, because in the World Cup, you had others that come from other countries to the World Cup. So there in Natal, where we were camped, because we started off there, you could see a lot of businesses that were signed and a lot of partnership agreements and MOUs that were signed that I was privy to. So for me, World Cup, which is the biggest platform for sports, I mean, if you have the budget, why not? You can leverage on it, not just for the World Cup, but it can sustain you for years to come because of that partnerships that you signed during the World Cup.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I want to give a big shout out to Bidec. And if you've been a regular listener and of our Power Hour, you know that we actually had Stephen Selassie on the show a few weeks ago, and he's the head of Bidec. And this is kind of how we're meeting all of the fantastic, fabulous Ghanaians here in Accra. So I want to give a big shout out to them because they're actually working on a sort of a World Cup train, if you may, that they want to bring into Atlanta and in other parts of the US where the games are going to be played. But one of the things is sort of beyond this football itself or beyond the soccer itself, Kowena, how can this sort of a global event like the World Cup itself drive, if you may, tourism and drive trade and culture and influence and business visibility too, right? Because you come into Atlanta, we'll have a number of Ghanaians into the US. And then also, and I want you to speak to Atlanteans as well and Americans because hearing it from an outside perspective is also helpful. How can we really take advantage of this sort of global event to really then create this semblance of visibility across business, across culture, across tourism?
So I know BIDEC is leading a fair around that period. So that is one activity. And I'm quite sure you don't need to go to the stadium to experience all of these. I'm quite sure even back in Ghana, some would not attend, but they would have uh, to visit some sports, where companies like the beverage industry would activate, especially when your teams are playing. And that is when, especially for those in the beverage space and the alcoholic space, sales spike. And I'm quite sure they are all preparing themselves for this. I know I'm speaking to some companies on behalf of BIDEC to see whether they can come to Atlanta to be part of the exhibition. And you can see positive results coming from there, from those discussions. So for me, there is nothing that you can't take advantage when it comes to World Cup. The eyeballs alone, the years alone is unmeasurable. And if you take a simple model like the AIDA model that we all know in communication, awareness, interest, desire, and action, you realize that for awareness alone, you can make a case that are able to reach so many people because of the World Cup.
Yeah.
The rest, you can, find, what do you call it, the metrics to it later on. But then one you can see that I was at this place and got 1,000 people and got 2,000 people. For me, that is enough. The
Yeah.
eyes and the eyes and the years are alone. The awareness alone for me is a good start. The rest would follow suit by
Yeah,
itself.
and there are obviously some last minute. I mean, we're in the last minute now, sort of the 11th hour, if you want to put it like that. So there are obviously some last minute strategies and things that we can think about as businesses. If you're not yet, able to determine what you're going to gain from this massive sort of influx of people coming through into Atlanta. And next month, and I hope you'll be able to join us too, Kobena, because next month we're going to be on GOC Power Hour. We're going to be featuring conversations for people who actually participated in the World Cups in previous times. So we'll have the first week of April, we're going to be talking to the South Africans, and we want to understand what did they go through, and as small businesses, medium-sized businesses, what were the benefits that they gained from the World Cup? Because we want to talk to people who have done this kind of thing, at least in this community. We want to hear from those, and then we'll also talk to the folks in Brazil in the second week. And I'm happy that you've been to both of those so you can compare and contrast what you've seen.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to the folks in Qatar, because those are the sort of one, two, three, if you may, folks who have actually hosted a World Cup. Atlanta has never hosted a World Cup before. We've hosted major events, Olympics in about 30 years ago, but a FIFA World Cup, 8 games. I think there's still folks who are on this call who still hasn't gotten their strategy ready or don't have a last minute sort of a plan, and there may be some hope. And so please tune in April. We're gonna be having those conversations. But
April,
Rick,
what day?
it's our power hour is every Wednesday, Covena, every Wednesday morning at 8:30. So the Wednesdays that are coming up in April, we'll be using to have those discussions as we help our entrepreneurs and our business owners to think about what they can do to get some last minute action in. I know we're coming up on stretch, and I'm going to drop our poll, but I wanted to ask. I've got a few more questions I wanted to ask you to see how you can help us here with these insights. And I dropped the poll, folks, so I'd love for you to participate in the poll and give us your feedback. so we can reveal the poll before we're done here. But Kwabena, practical strategy. I want to talk about practicalities now. Sort of, if you were to advise one of the businesses on this call about the first steps that they should take, right, as business leaders within the next 30 or 90 days, if they're really serious about exploring Ghana, what would these practical first steps be?
So one, you would want to find out the data on that particular industry. Is there a space for you in that industry? So if you are coming to fintech, what is the market size? What is the share of market? Which space do I have to play in? So that data is very important for you. So that's the first step.
And by the way, where are we finding this data that you're talking about? Do you have a reference? Like, where do people find this? And I think we probably are losing him here, and maybe we have to go to Atto as his backup. I don't know, Atto, if you're still able to come on and help us here, given the fact that you're a researcher. But we do want to understand, where do we find this data in Atto? Can
Yeah.
you
So I'm
can you
here.
give
So
some color to that?
there are data sets available, right? And so if you're looking for if we're talking specifically for fintech, um, there are hold on there are companies that are providing that very custom research options. So if you're coming to Ghana specifically, um, you can either commission one or have one that has basically has proprietary has a syndicated option available. There's a company that started. If you're looking for more CPG type products, we have retail audit across West Africa, so you would have that data set as well. Yes, so specifically for fintech, Kasi Insights is the name. So
And
KA.
let's go ahead and put that into the chat if you can, so that folks can, and if you can put a link or put a URL, that would be helpful to our folks who
Sure,
will
let
be
me put that.
search.
So I'll put so there are companies that have these syndicate data at affordable prices where you don't necessarily have to break the bank to have some initial view of the marketplace in that sense. I think Kwabna is
Yeah. Kwame, I see you're back.
Yeah,
You're back.
so
Thank you,
yeah,
Atto. I
so
appreciate that resource.
so I said let's consider three things. One is the data, and people like Ato can easily help us in that regard. Speaking to the right people, the right professional bodies, the right associations, just to benchmark and mimic what is out here in Ghana. And then the most important thing is you start with a local partner. And once you start with a local partner who is already in the business, you can't, piggyback or leverage the strength to enter the market and establish yourself. So basically, these three most important things are the things to look out for, aside the regulatory environment and all of that. But once you have a strong local partner who is doing the right things on ground, I'm sure you are good
Yes.
to.
Yes. Awesome. So I know we're coming up on our wraps, folks, and if we can beg for maybe 1 or 2 final minutes just to get Kwabena to give us your final bit of advice, Kwabena, as you think about one message to this community here, the global diaspora, about doing business in Ghana. What is it that we didn't ask you that you'd like to say in the form of an advice, and then we'll have our friend Atto also chime in on that before we wrap here.
So one thing that I'm not told, why are they interested in Ghana? So I would want to find out why the interest in Ghana and which last country they've been to and what the experience is like. I would like to know. Aside Ghana, I would like to know this.
Fantastic. So we're collecting the poll. We're about 30%. I like to reveal the poll at 50%. So the folks who are still trying to get their information in, I think we'll see that number coming up in just about a minute or so. So we give them an opportunity to do that. Atto, thanks for jumping in on this, and it's great to meet you. What's your one message that you would have around doing business with Ghana today?
There's a saying that says you get on the elephant while the elephant is sitting down, right? And so Ghana is in that position at this point in time. I think Kwabena has spoke about the macroeconomic recovery, the level of if you look at consumer sentiment, that is really tracking up. If you look at just overall business interest and business syndication, that is one that is coming up, right? And so if you look at where the country is today and the outlook, there's no better time to really look at the country at at this point. And our currency is quite strong against the all foreign currencies, right? So you better get in before it gets stronger.
Yeah. No, thank you. And that's awesome. And folks, if you I know we didn't ask you for any questions, but I see you're still here, and which is always impressive that you still stick around even after the hour the hour has come. And I appreciate that. If you have any question, we can probably take one quick question, but I see Carnelia had put something in the chat, and we'll also reach out to you, Carnelia, on how we might be able to assist you in finding a local partner here. But if there's any other question, Melvin is asking if there's a directory of local partners that we can connect to. I don't know if Otto, if you have any insight on that, or Kwabena.
In terms of
Kwabena is my
marketing,
directory.
you are right. When it comes to matchmaking, they should be just rest assured. They should just drop me a mail. I'll put my email in the chat box, and they should drop me an email, and I would connect them to the right people. That's the easiest thing I can do without blinking an eye.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we're about 41% folks. I really want to share with Kwabena and Ato what you're thinking around the business in Ghana. If you can just help us to get that number up, that would be really awesome. But I'm gonna stop the poll in the interest of time, just to show the results quickly, so that we can get you can get on with our day here. So let me just share the results of sort of what folks are saying. And you specifically, Kwarena, wanted to know, what is it that is interesting folks in doing business in Ghana. And so let's see what some of these folks said about that. So as you could see, some of the other results, people are saying that it's obviously, the top businesses that interest them in their real estate, that export import opportunity that exists. People interested in in sort of other amounts of opportunities that exist in the market as well. I see folks indicating that there's interest in the real estate, there's interest in the professional services community that's here. So you do have a few folks who express interest in technology, in supply chain, in the people want to become a citizen actually of Ghana. So that's also a great opportunity. And so there is a number of varied interest I see here, people have expressed, and so that's really helpful. And the steps that they took based on this feedback, the steps that people have taken, a lot of folks haven't taken any steps yet, and we still have a number of folks who have not yet done business in Ghana, which is a great opportunity. How do we turn that into an opportunity there, right? And so people have indicated that they really want to learn more about Ghana. They really want to cultivate more relationships, and really sort of help them to make those decisions to be able to get in on the market. So, like you said, I love what Ato says. You can't get on an elephant unless he's down, and that's a really good way to end the conversation today, folks. I really want to thank you, Kwabena. I thank you as well for bringing in your sidekick, Atto, who was really helpful in sharing. And Atto, we've got to get you back on the show at some point to dive deeper into some of these research, because it seems like you've got a good handle on some research data here. Thank you, guys, everyone. I want to leave you with the president of Ghana again. He had a really strong message I really like. That's why we played it. I want to leave it with you again before we're out. Next week, we'll be doing a recap of our trip for Abuja, Lagos, as well as Accra. And so we're inviting you to come back and hear from those folks who actually were delegates on the trip. You'll be hearing from them about their own experience. Thank you so much, everybody, and we certainly appreciate it. We will definitely see you next week. I'm going to restart this. I'm going to replay this video here from our honorable president of Ghana. Have a good afternoon and a good morning, everybody.
Our vision hinges on the introduction and implementation of a 24-hour economy, which will also be anchored in agriculture and agribusiness. This innovative approach would unlock potentials that have long remained dormant, enabling us to harness the energy and creativity of all our people. And young people, including entrepreneurs, can find opportunities regardless of traditional institutions. The 24-hour economy model will also bolster job creation for the young people, stimulate local industry, and attract foreign investments, and allow us to build resilient communities and a sustainable future. This vision extends beyond mere economic transactions, symbolizes empowerment, the empowerment of every Ghanaian to contribute to our national progress. To the business leaders and entrepreneurs, I invite you to support this new model and join me in shaping a business environment where creativity thrives and where the fruits of your investments contribute to the collective welfare of our nation. Your role in driving our economy forward cannot be overstated. Your innovation and dedication will be a backbone of our success story. And I pledge to you that we would look at the tax regime and rationalize them so that they are more transparent and fair. Members of the business community, I assure you, Ghana is open for business again. I thank you and welcome you to Ghana. And in our local parlance, I say Akwaba to all of you.
Fantastic. Awesome. All right. Have a good day, everybody. We'll see you next week on the call, same time, same place.
Thank
Thanks,
you once
guys.
again for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Chloe.
Good program. Good program. I'll be joining because there's a lot of matchmaking to be made here. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
So see you soon. I might join you this evening.
Yes. All right. Bye.